Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar Wednesday here for March. Tonight's topic will be the rewards of being a foster parent. And we are Accentria Foster Care out of Accentria Care Alliance, which is a large nonprofit human services agency in New England. Tonight, we'll be specifically talking about our foster care programs and really highlighting and wanting to lift up foster care. We have a dire need for foster parents in our state and in our communities in Worcester and Brockton and beyond. So we've been doing these Wednesday webinars once a month, and we'll continue to do so throughout the spring and summer, just to try to raise awareness about the needs of foster children and especially tonight, reasons why folks should consider becoming a foster parent. So we're very fortunate tonight, not just to have staff present, but also to have one of our very own foster parents with us. So we'll do introductions in just a moment. But I am going to just give a heads up about what we're going to talk about tonight. So we'll give just some deeper introductions to who is here and also to Accentria and the unique programs that we operate in Massachusetts. Then, of course, we'll spend time talking about the rewards of being a foster parent from the perspective of our foster mom that's here. And then there will be time for Q&A at the end. So definitely feel free to send us in your questions. So my name is Colleen Schroth, and I am the Community Outreach Manager at Accentria Foster Care in Massachusetts. In my role, I'd like to say that I'm in the business of finding caring adults and figuring out ways for them to become involved in our program. Ultimately, our goal is to find foster parents, but there's also other ways that I try to engage community members, such as through donations. We are a nonprofit, so we accept financial contributions as well as needed items for our youth. And then, of course, we do occasionally have volunteer opportunities. So if anyone out there is listening and is interested in becoming involved after tonight's webinar, you can definitely reach out to me. And now I'll turn it over to Allie to introduce herself as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie, and I am the current foster parent recruitment coordinator for Accentria's intensive foster care program. So Accentria's fostering program does partner with DCF. We receive our referrals of children from DCF, meaning that we receive children that have been removed from their homes due to abuse or neglect, and we place them within the homes of our licensed foster parents. Accentria does have an intensive foster program, which is what separates us from DCF foster care. What that means is that we have much more support for our parents. Most of the foster parents in our program receive visits from the family resource worker, case worker, and the DCF worker to ensure optimal amount of support. Most of the children that we have can age anywhere from toddlers to 22 years old, but our most common age is elementary middle school years. All of the children in our home have experienced trauma and have additional needs that can vary between examples of PTSD, anxiety, depression, and other emotional and behavioral challenges.
Thank you, Allie. Very helpful to hear that introduction to intensive foster care, as it is one of the unique foster care programs that Accentria offers. We really pride ourselves on providing the high level support so that the children can be successful in our foster homes. So definitely, Allie, her contact information will be included in a follow-up email if you're interested in learning more. And I'm going to now talk briefly about the Unaccompanied Refugee Minors program. This is actually the program that our foster mom, Becky, who we'll introduce in just a moment, has experience with. So the Unaccompanied Refugee Minors program is one of the only URM programs in the country. There's about 12, and we're fortunate to have this program in Massachusetts. We are a foster care program. We recruit, train, license, and support our own network of foster parents to care for unaccompanied children, whether those are immigrant children coming from the US-Mexico border frequently, or whether these are children from overseas, such as more recently from Afghanistan and from Burma. So these are children that have come to the United States seeking safety, fleeing dangerous circumstances in their home countries, and who are in the United States without a parent, guardian, or other form of relative that can care for them. So we place them into our foster homes. We are a long-term foster care program as the children build skills like completing high school, learning English, and really preparing for independence when they leave our care. So that's a little bit about the URM program. So I'm actually going to turn off the screen share so that we can introduce Becky and start to talk about our focus topic of the rewards of being a foster parent. So Becky, thank you so much for being here tonight. And if you could just start off by telling us about how long you've been a foster parent and a little bit about your family, that will be a great start.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I've been a foster mom for about 2 years now. So it's been 2 years. And I've had 2 placements, a short-term placement and now a longer term placement. So, and I foster with my husband. And we also have a daughter who's 12 years old in our home. So.
Awesome. So I know we invited you to this topic, the rewards of being a foster parent, and really tonight we want to highlight the positive aspects of foster care. I feel like too often in our society, in the news, we might hear negative stories and negative things from foster care. And certainly there are challenges, but I don't think people realize how rewarding the experience can be too. So Becky, for you, what have been some of the rewards of being a foster parent? What comes to mind when you hear the rewards of being a foster parent?
Well, I've definitely had more rewards than anything being a foster parent. And the first thing is I've been very happy to be able to grow my family, to have, another family member along with us. So that's been great. I've fostered teens, which I really enjoy fostering teens. I feel it's like an exciting time in their life. They're going through a lot of changes. They're working towards goals. They're working towards independence. So I like being able to work with them on different goals that they have. As far as having a young daughter at home, my current foster son, he's been a wonderful role model for her. He does very well in school. He's very kind. He's very appreciative. So he's really helped with the dynamic of our family. She adores him. So that's been great. It's nice to have a teenager where they're involved in different activities. So we're always keeping busy. It seems like we have more fun in our family, having that additional family member. And being a foster parent to the URM, it's unique where we get to learn about a new culture. So we get to learn different food, a little bit of a different language, and go to different restaurants, go to different places. It opens a new community to our household. And of course, the foster child that you have, they bring a lot to your home. So you learn about them, their likes, their dislikes, different things. So you get to know them, and it opens up a lot of different doors for you as a family. So it's fun.
Awesome. Yeah, so if you could speak a little bit more about the unique aspects of being a foster parent to an unaccompanied refugee minor. I know you have a foster son. We were talking earlier, you said he's been with you for over a year now. And maybe share a little bit more detail of like what country he's from and maybe what you've learned and what language you've been maybe practicing at home a little bit.
He comes from Guatemala, and he actually speaks 2 other languages. He speaks Quechua is his first language, and then Spanish is his second. And now he's speaking English, which is phenomenal. It's only been like 14 months, and he's able to communicate very well. More with the Spanish, just picking up words, I find it difficult, but I think the longer you're with kids that speak Spanish or as friends, you pick up little words here and there, and it's inspired me to learn it. So I'm probably, starting in September, I want to take classes. So yeah, so that's been great. And then the food, we've learned so many new dishes. I've just recently been going on YouTube and looking for recipes, and some of the kids in the program, they cook, going to different markets, finding different snacks, all kinds of things. So that's been nice. And then learning about the home, his home country. There's a lot of different things that they're facing in other countries. There's a lot we take for granted in the United States. So it's kind of looking at a different country, a different way of living, and different struggles that people face in different countries. So
definitely. Awesome. Yeah, and you had also mentioned when we were talking earlier about some of the travel that you've gotten to do as a family. So some people might not realize that with permission from the program that you're with and things like that, you are able to sometimes travel with the youth depending on their situation. So in the case of Becky's family, they have had permission to travel a couple places. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of those experiences?
Yes, we were lucky. We were able to we were able to go take the kids to Disney World, which was really fun. And that's one thing I love about like teenagers too, because they're self-sufficient, So you like when you pack, you give them their suitcases, they can pack. You're not packing all the baby stuff and the diapers, and so that's a nice aspect of the URM program, because mostly the kids are teenagers. And it's fun. It's they're active, so they keep you active. I feel like they've having teenagers in the house, it keeps me and my husband younger. We might not feel that way all the time by the end of the night, but for the most part, we're always doing things. So and we've been up to the mountains. We've been to Maine to the beach, and then for April vacation, we're going to be going to Key West. So we're going to be doing fishing and snorkeling and things like that. So it's been really nice to be able to do that. So
yeah, no, and I so appreciate you kind of shedding light on some of the rewards of specifically fostering teenagers. I know oftentimes people are intimidated by that, and for those who are listening, there is a need for foster parents for all ages, but especially for school-aged youth, really starting from like ages 8 and up, all the way up to age actually 22, because children in Massachusetts can stay in care voluntarily when they turn 18. So we do have many youth that are approaching 18 or who are even over 18 still being cared for by their foster parents. So definitely there's a great need for fostering teens, and they're fun and they have their own unique personalities and senses of humor, and they're distinct individuals just like anyone. So I think there are rewards that people don't realize about fostering teens. We could also talk about rewards of fostering younger children, but Becky's here today, so we're kind of highlighting that experience. But certainly if there are folks listening interested in other age groups, that's definitely something that we could talk about too. I think we're coming to the end of our time, but I did want to kind of tie in one last thing. So our last webinar that we had in February, since we do have webinars once a month, was the challenges of being a foster parent and how we support families through that. So We definitely don't want to shy away from the reality that sometimes foster care is challenging, but we also want to highlight the good things and address misconceptions too. Sometimes people think one thing and it's actually another. So Becky, not to put you on the spot, but I'm wondering, was there something when you first decided to become a foster parent, was there something that you were nervous about and maybe, made you worried, but that it actually turned out to be okay, that it actually turned out to be better than you thought? Does anything come to mind that was maybe a misconception that you had?
I think that when you know that you're having kids in your home and they have experienced trauma, and you have like a younger child in your home, that in the back you're maybe a little fearful of different behaviors that might come out, and if you're going to be able to meet all their needs. But in my experience with the foster children that I have, it's usually like I haven't had any behavioral issues that have come up. It's more I don't know how you would I haven't had we haven't had any issues that I thought would come up as far as like physical like anything like that. Nothing. The kids that have been in my home have been appreciative, they've been kind, they've been so respectful, and maybe I've known other foster kids that are in the program too. Some of them do have like depression, things like that. So I mean, I think that was a surprise to me. I think I expected more in terms of behaviors.
Certainly. Yeah, and I think every kid is different. And I know for Allie's program, intensive foster care, we do see some behavioral challenges being more common at that level of care. That's kind of why intensive foster care exists, to provide support to youth that might have some challenging behaviors, but it's definitely not across the board. And I think people might assume that all foster children are the same or act the same, and it's definitely not the case. Every child is different, just like every person is different. So perhaps it goes without saying, but I do think people kind of sometimes stigmatize foster youth. And we know that, our kids are amazing, as Becky's shared, just wonderful kids and young people. And I think, yeah, I like that you spoke to, you do have a younger daughter in the home. And I know from stories I've heard that it's been a positive experience. And so often that's the case. Folks think that they have to wait until they don't have any children in the home to be able to foster. And that's definitely not the case. In all the families I've worked with and talked with in our programs over the last 4 years, it really seems like having other children, whether it's biological or adopted children in the home, actually help kind of break the ice. I think especially when a youth first moves in, adults are kind of like standoffish and nervous, but little kids are like, hey, like, want to play, like, want to do this, and they just kind of break the ice. So I actually think it's really great when there's other children in the home, because as Becky's spoken to, you see those relationships form for sure. So I guess we're wrapping up now. Becky, is there any last words of wisdom that you would want to pass on, or just anything else you'd like to share about your experience as a foster parent?
It's been one of the best decisions that we've made as a family. And I probably, knowing what I know now about it, I would have done it sooner. I would have done it 5 years earlier. But I'm happy to do it now, and it's something that I would like to continue to do for as long as I can. So yeah, so I'm very thankful, and I feel very blessed to be able to do it. It's been a wonderful experience.
Awesome. Great. Well, with that, we are going to wrap up this evening. So thank you all so much for listening in and learning about the positive aspects of being a foster parent. We will be sharing this recording via email, and we really encourage you to share it with friends, with neighbors. If you're part of a church community, help us spread the word, because we are in a dire need of more people like Becky, or people who are totally different than Becky. Anyone can be a foster parent, whether you are a single parent, a first-time parent, whether you own or rent your home, people of all faith backgrounds, all ethnic and racial backgrounds. We need foster parents of all kinds. So if there is anyone out there that is interested, please send them our way with the details that we'll share in our follow-up email. But thank you all. Thank you so much to Allie for being here. Thank you so much to Becky for being here. And I wish you all hopefully a thaw to come for spring and warmer weather to come. So take care. Oh, and our next webinar will be in April, on Wednesday, April 19th at 6 p.m. We'll be highlighting our intensive foster care program. So if anyone wants to learn more about that, please join us then. But thank you all and have a good night.
Bye. Thank you.